Hey, welcome to the trick taking table. I'm exhausted. That is over. The Sail Legacy campaign. Thank you so much if you checked it out. It has been absolutely wild to be a part of, and what a roller coaster. I feel bad covering so many biased things and having it be a very salty month on the channel, so I thought to break free and catch up on some much needed chores that I have not gotten done. Let's cover a couple of Shibu games, huh? In fact, Shibu, who is the designer of Lazy Bellboys, which we are going to cover, and ClumsyRoomMaids, which we are going to cover, has been a very fascinating designer to me. I cover sometimes a lot of a certain designer. I have actually kind of like a spreadsheet of how many times I've covered a designer, and they, I think, are past that mark of 5 or more. It's a designer that I don't quite know, so I feel fine having no grain of salt disclaimers before any final thoughts. So I thought that would be fun to have like a nice saltless video, because I think I'm just getting so salty these days. I did have a fun interaction with Shibu actually, where when I had a booth at Tokyo Game Market, they came over and they picked up, I think, Owl or Short Zutsu, but, or I think that both actually, because so they came over, they said, hey, I have reserved a copy of both. So I pull them out and I'm about to take the money and I'm like, oh, right, what is your name? So I can like cross off the reservation. And they're like, Shibu. And so I was like, you're Shibu. It was a wonderful moment. And I was in the middle of taking money, but I have just been such a fan of like Peter Stu Sheepdog and kind of this love from afar of what Shibu has done in trick taking. So I tried to be like, I can't accept your money, but it was like this awkward like translation thing where I don't think I was coming across correctly. And so I was like, thank you, discount, like half off set. So I kind of like gave some money back. And it was very confusing. I don't know why I did this. But so I have met them once and it was a wonderful experience, and they're so great. So that being said, the games we're covering today, the hooks of the games we're covering today. Lazy Bellboys. I just realized I opened this because I was going to do laundry as I talk. But the hook to Lazy Bellboys is players, it's only a 2-player game, but players will be trying not to take cards because whoever has the most cards lose. But what's interesting is the cards in your hand, they change how strong they are, the ranks, depending on where they are in your hand. So like one card is X, and what that means is its rank is related to its position in your hand. So you can't rearrange your hand when you get dealt. And when it's in the first position, it's just 1. But if it's in the second position in your hand, then it's a 2. Third, it's a 3, yada, yada, yada. So that was just a simple example. But in addition to X, there's like X times 2. So if it's in the second position in your hand, it's a 4. If it's a third position, it's a 6. There's also X squared, which is wild. So the card can go anywhere from a 1, if it's in the first position, all the way to like 25, if it's in the 5th position in your hand. Absolutely wild. And so what's cool about that is it's just highest number that wins. So you're kind of trying to plan out when to play certain cards and have them be weak, have them be strong. Because if you want it to be super strong and take all of one suit, you actually get to pass that to the other player. There's like a trick avoidance kind of in the game. Whoa. So that is Lazy Bellboys. And now, ClumsyRoomMaids, huh? Get it? I'm doing laundry. The hook to this one is, it plays actually 2 to 4, and it's kind of like 99 by David Parlett. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. There's a video on the channel on that game. But the premise is you're using cards to bid on the number of tricks you're going to take. It's a 6-trick only game. But the twist that this does kind of on 99 is you're not choosing cards from a deal. You're actually drafting cards one at a time. And when you see that one card, you have to choose right then if it's going to go in your hand, go past to the player on your left, or be one of your 3 bids. So it's a very interesting kind of push your luck, right? Because you're going to draw a card and you're going to be like, should this be my hand? Should I pass it? Or should it be part of my bid? Super fascinating stuff. But that is essentially the hooks to these 2 bad Larrys. So let's go to the table, I'll teach you how to play, and then we're going to go to final thoughts. Salt free, baby. All right, catch you later. Bye. The deck in Clumsy Roommates is made up of 3 suits numbered 0 through 9. The 6s are special, that's why the art's a little different. And also at 4 players, you're going to use all the cards. But at 2 and 3 players, you're actually going to take out the 1s in each suit. So there's going to be 3 less cards at 2 and 3 players. Here we have the game set up for 3 players, and Boris is coming to help. Okay, Boris. No. Alrighty, we're back. Here we have the game set up for 3 players. So the rules I'm going to teach at 3, and then you can play at 2 and 4 players, but I'll teach those after. So here we have it set up. So every player is going to get 3 of the task and manager cards, set them in front of themselves. They're also going to get a memo card that's going to go into their hand. And then finally, since we have 3 players, we're going to take out the 1s of each suit and the extra memo card that is used at 4 players. Oh, and you're going to shuffle the deck, put it in the center here, and then some player is going to get this leader card randomly. Let's say it's just gray sock down here, and then they are going to start the first phase of the game. This first phase is called the distribution phase, and how it works is, starting with the player with a leader card, they're going to draw the top card of the deck, look at it, and then choose to do one of 3 things with it. They can keep it for their hand, so maybe this player wants this purple 5, they can just keep it in their hand, or they can use it to bid. Down here, they're going to bid 3 times, and everyone's going to do this. So every player's at the end going to at least bid 3 times, and you use the cards that you draw to do it. Or the last thing is you can pass it to the player to your left, and you can only do that once. And once you do it, you're actually going to give it with a memo, and the memo is going to stay on the table next to the person to the left as a sign that not only have you passed, but you can only do that if you have a memo in your hand. So that's why the memos start in player's hand. And it's only on the table here because I don't have 3 people helping me teach this game. So again, starting with the gray sock, they're looking at this 5 and they're wondering, oh, do I want to keep this in my hand? Do I want to use it as a bid, or do I want to pass it? Let's say they just keep it in their hand for now. So they're going to keep it in their hand, and then it's going to go clockwise. So then the cat sock is now going to look privately at this card. And in the first round, this is important, the trump suit is purple. In the second round, it's orange. And in the third round, there's actually no trump suit. So this player over here is looking at this and they're like, a 3 in trump. Maybe I don't want it, and maybe I want to pass it to the player to the left. They're going to do that now. So they are going to pass it over to the player to the left. The player is on the left is going to look at it and be like, okay, cool. This is in my hand. That's great. And now it's going to move again clockwise to the blue striped sock. Maybe they look at the 0. They're like, oh, I want that in my hand. So then it comes to this player. And this player is going to look at it and go, yeah, I'll keep that in my hand. And so now it goes the cat. And this is going to keep going until everyone has 3 bids in front of them, has passed a card, so the memos are all down at the table, and everyone has 5 cards in their hand. So flow like this is going to continue and continue and continue, but let's show that last option of picking for your bid. So I think we were on this player here. How bidding works is depending on the card, and I've stacked the deck now to show all the 3 different suits. On the middle part of the card, there's either going to be a 2, a 1, or a 0, and that is on all the suits. So all the blues have 0, all the oranges have 1, and all the purples have 2. And so what that's going to indicate is whether you are going to take 2 tricks, 1 trick, or 0 tricks. And so coming back to this example here, maybe this player has drawn this card here. If they want to use this card as part of their bet, they are saying that they are going to take 2 tricks. When you're using a card as a bet, you can place it in one of 2 ways. You can place it face down, so you're the only one who knows what is on that number. And when you do that, you're going to cover up the manager, so you're just going to have a normal task. Or, so maybe it comes to this player, they draw this card, they think they're definitely going to take one. You can place it face up, covering the task, and now everyone knows that you want to take at least 1 trick. That's what that 1 is for over there. So players are going to be doing this, and I should say the first person who chooses to bid in a round, they're actually going to take the leader card from whomever it's in front of. If it's just in front of you, like if this gray sock was the first person to do it, they'll just keep it there. And they are going to lead into the very first trick. So there's kind of a little bit of an incentive, maybe if you want to lead the first trick, to bid first. So this cat sock up here, since they bid first, they're actually going to take the leader card right away. So then coming to this player, maybe they don't want to take that many tricks, so they have a 0 here, and they're going to do that and declare it. Maybe this player draws this, they keep it in their hand. This player looks at this, they want 2, and they're going to let it be loud and proud. And then down here, this person is going to put 1 down there. So maybe players think they're going to take a bunch of 0, but they actually want 1. This player right here maybe does that, puts it back into their hand. So flow is going to continue like this until, again, everyone has 5 cards in hand, the 3 bids, and they've passed a card. And just to be clear, let's say during this card flow in this distribution phase, if the first 5 times you look at a card and keep it in your hand, then that's all you can do. You won't be adding to your hand by drawing a card anymore. The only other card you'll get is from being passed to the left. So that means the next 4 cards, 3 of them have to be bids, and 1 of them has to be passing to the left. So there's a little bit of like a push your luck element as you're drawing cards, because you're like, oh, I already have 4 cards in my hand. Will this be the very last one? Or do I pass to the left, or do I, bid with it? So jumping to the end of the distribution phase, at the very end, everyone's memo cards will be on the table because they've passed a card to the left. Everyone will have bid 3 times, and it's any combination of, you can not reveal any, or you can reveal all, or you can reveal a mix. And then finally, everyone will have 6 cards in their hand, 5 that they picked, and 1 that got passed to them from the player to their right. Now, you're going to go into the trick-taking phase, and that is going to start with whoever got the leader card. And again, that is whoever bid first. They're going to play into the trick with whatever card they want. So maybe they play a 5. It is must follow, so coming to the blue striped player here, they're going to have to play that 0. And then coming down to this player, oh wow, they have to play the 7. So the highest of the lead suit is going to win if there's no trump. Again, trump is purple in this first round. The only other caveat is the 0 beats the 9. So let's say down here, this player played the 9 in orange. It actually would have lost to the 0. So kind of like a wraparound thing. The player who won is going to collect the trick. And if they won with a 6, it's going to be special, which is going to have that special art, which I believe, yeah, it says like break time on it, which I can show an example of later. But if they didn't, they're going to just collect this trick, put it down here, and then lead to the next trick. So maybe this player, yeah, they play that 6. It's must follow. So this player over here, maybe they offsuit with an orange, and then finally this player down here has to fall and they play a 3. The reason the 6s are important is because when you win a trick with them, it's said that you can keep it horizontal next to your trick pile. We just kind of left it face up as like a 6 because it's kind of obvious. But why winning with a 6 is important is that it counts as winning a trick, but it doesn't count as a trick toward your bid. And winning a trick is worth a point. So this player down here got a point, but they didn't actually go and boost up the number of tricks they took in terms of their bid. Coming to the next trick, this player over here doesn't have blue, so maybe they trump in, and this player over here, similarly in the same position, maybe they also trump in, and they will win this trick. And so flow like this is going to continue for those 6 tricks. Jumping ahead to the end of those 6 tricks, now players are going to reveal their bids and see if they hit their bid. So how scoring works is no matter if you hit your bid or not, every trick you take is worth 1 point. So down here, this player won with a 6 and they won 2 other tricks. So that's 3. This player got 1 and this player over here also got 3. Next, you're going to check if the players hit their bids and how many players hit their bids. So over here, this player wanted 5 tricks, they got 1. Oof. This player over here wanted 1 trick, they got 3. So they both missed. Whereas this player over here wanted 3 tricks, they got 3 tricks, so they hit their bid. If everyone hit their bid, they would get 10 points each. If only 2 people hit their bid, the 2 people who hit their bid are going to get 20 points each, but if only 1 person hit their bid, like in this case, that player is going to get 30 points. You can bid 0 in the game, like if this player did this, and then if they took no tricks, or if they only took tricks with 6s, they would have hit their bid and that would have counted as well. Next, if you successfully hit your bid, you're going to check if you have any of your face-up kind of revealed bids. So it'll have the manager showing on the bottom here, and you are going to get 10 bonus points for every time you did that. So this player up here, they got 3 points for winning tricks. They got 30 points for being the only one who did hit their bid, and they're also going to get another 10, 20, 30 points because they showed 3 cards and revealed their entire bid, so they get 30 bonus points. So they're actually at 63. If you missed your bid at all, even by 1, you're going to get 0 points for any of the bidding, but you're still going to get those trick points. And the final way to get points is if other players did a manager, like they revealed one of their bids and they messed up, then the other players, each other player, is going to get 5 points per card revealed this way. So this player over here and this player over here, they're going to get 5 more points each because this player down here revealed this card. This player doesn't get anything for that player missing their bid because all of them were face down. And this player still gets that 5 points for a missed bid, whether they hit their bid or not. All that matters is that the player who revealed missed their bid, then the other players do get those 5 points. So the final score is 1 point for a trick for this player over here, and then 5 points for this missed bid. So they got 6. Down here, this player got 3 tricks. And then over here, this player got 68, I think. 30 for revealing all 3, 30 for being the only one who got their bid, 3 for the tricks, and then 5 because of this player missing their bid and revealing this card. So 63, 3, and then 6. Wild scores. So that was 1 round. You're going to collect all the cards, shuffle them, put them back in the deck. You are going to do that same flow again. In round 2, the orange suit is going to be trump. You're going to do all that, and then you're going to play 3 total rounds. In round 3, there's going to be no trump at all. Whoever has the most points at the end of those 3 rounds wins, and if there's a tie, then it's the player holding the leader card amongst the tied players. And if no one is doing that, like if it was a tie amongst these players in the 3rd round and this player was holding the leader card, then it's player to the left of whoever's holding that leader card. So this player would win if these players tied. And that's how to play Clumsy Roommaids at 3 players. Now let's go talk about 2 and 4 players. How the 2-player works is 2 players are going to be playing against an automa kind of hand named Clara, who can win the game, and they're just going to, every round, be kind of set up at random. You're going to shuffle the deck, you're going to deal 3 cards to them at random for their bid, and they're also going to deal 6 cards to them at random. That's going to be their hand. And then you're going to put the rest of the cards in the center like that. Players will now play that original drafting flow where someone's going to draft a card, look at it, keep it in their hand or bid or whatever they want to do. Except now players are to the left of each other. So if they want to pass a card using the memo, they're just going to pass it to the other player's hand. The first player to bid will get the leader card. So it's going to be one of these 2 players. Once the distribution phase is up, again, the leader is going to lead into the first trick. But the special thing now is Clara. And how does Clara work? Well, Clara first will reveal her entire hand before the trick play. You can kind of sort it, and so it's easier to be able to play. But now, how it works is it depends on if Clara is leading or if one of the players is leading. If one of the players is leading, they're going to lead into the trick just like normal. So maybe this player plays that 2. And whenever a player is leading, either player, Clara always plays last. So then it'll come to this player. It is still must follow, so maybe they play that 6. But then finally, Clara always plays last. And what Clara plays is still part of the must follow, but the person with the leader card chooses what they play. So in this case, this player can choose Clara to play either the 0 or the 8. So maybe this player notices that up here, their opponent wants to win 3 tricks, so maybe they want to steal that from him, even though it's with a 6, so it doesn't quite matter, but they're going to play that. So now Clara is the trick winner, and they are going to lead into the trick. The interesting thing is, when Clara wins a trick, the leader card does not swap. If Clara had played a 0 in that last example, and this player up here won the trick, you have slid over this leader card, they would have led, this player would have, the gray sock player would have followed, and then the striped sock player would have picked which card Clara played, just like the previous trick. But since Clara won, this is going to stay here. And how it works is, if Clara's leading the trick, the player who has this card from, a previous round is going to lead for them. It's going to lead into the round as Clara. So they're going to pick a card from Clara and lead it into the trick. So maybe they pick this, and then the player with the leader card is always going to play last. So now this player up here must follow with a card. They play that. And finally, the leader player is going to play, and then they won it. So they're going to take this trick. They're just going to keep this leader card. They're going to lead. This player plays. Clara's going to follow. Again, if Clara wins, that goes that way. Let's say this player actually won that trick. Then they would lead. This player would follow, and Clara would go into the trick, and this player would lead again. So that's kind of the flow. The general premise is the previous human trick winner is going to take this, and so always a human will have that. And the person who has this either is going to lead and have Clara play last, or if Clara won a trick, they're going to lead for Clara, other person's going to play, and then they're going to play last. So this is a lot of control to have that leader card at 2 players. So a flow like this is going to continue for the 6 tricks. At the very end, scoring is the same, actually. So you're just going to reveal everything. You're going to see if players hit their bid, and Clara's bid was random, but it's always all face down. So no one will ever get any points for any missed Clara bid, because Clara will never have a revealed bid, but it will matter in terms of how many points someone gets. So let's say this player up here hit their bid, this player missed, but Clara hit their bid, then both Clara and this player are going to get 20 points each. Whereas if Clara missed their bid and this player was the only one to hit their bid, then this player will get 30 points. So you're going to play 3 total rounds like that. Again, Clara can win. So players have to be aware of that. And if it's ever a tie, like Clara is tied with any human player, Clara breaks ties and wins. So that's how to play 2 players. The differences for Clumsy Roommates at 4 players is that you're going to be on a team. So it's going to be 2 versus 2. You're going to sit across from your partner. So it's going to be like team A, then B, then the other A, and then the other B. You're going to add the 1s to the deck in each of the suits. So now it's a full 0 through 9. Each player is going to get a memo card. And what's interesting is the pass isn't to the player to your left, your opponent, but actually your partner. So you're going to be passing a card back and forth to each partner. The same restrictions apply, that you can only have 5 cards plus the one that's passed. But what's interesting is each team has 3 of the bids, and you're actually bidding as a team. So you're not bidding individually. So in this example, like, and also you're going to flip the cards so that one side is white and one side is brown. So there's going to be kind of like a brown team and then like a white team. And how it works is you are going to be bidding for your entire team on the number of tricks both of you are going to take combined. So let's say the blue stripey and that gray sock are on a team. They're on like this white team. And so when the blue stripey person takes a card, they can choose it to be in their hand, pass to their partner, or one of their bids. The other special thing about this 4-player is that whether you bid up here or down here, it's always face up. You're always showing everyone at the table what your bid is. So what's interesting is the only thing then that matters, since everything's face up, is whether you want it to be worth points to the other team if you mess up or not, right? And also worth 10 more points to you if you get it right. So it's kind of like, let me just do an example here. If you did this, you're still saying getting 4 tricks, but in this case, you would get 30 more points for hitting it, or if you miss it, you'd be giving the other team 15 more points, and you can kind of mitigate that by doing this, but again, it always remains face up. Also, as you could tell, if one team member is the one to do that 3 times, then this player down here will have less draw actions. So let's say this person just draws, the first 5 cards and they put them all into their hand. This player over here for the first 3 decides to bid because they wanted to do that, and maybe they only took 2 cards. This player down here, their last card would just be a pass, and then this player down here, their last cards will just be taking in and then passing, and this person would kind of just forgo drawing a card when it comes to them, even though you still do clockwise. The scores for hitting your bid changes, so if both teams hit their bid, it's 15 points each, and if only your team hits, then it's only 30 points for you. You're still going to play 3 rounds and the highest score wins, but if both teams are tied, it's the team holding the leader card. And that's how to play 4 players. There is a variant way to play in the rules where you don't play 3 rounds, but you play until a certain number of points, like 100, but I'll let you discover that on your own. And that's how to play ClumsyRoomMaids. The deck in Lazy Bellboys is pretty interesting. So first and foremost, it's 3 suits and 6 cards in each suit, but the ranks could change depending on where the card is in the hand. Sometimes it is just like a 3, like this card here, but that would be going into the gameplay, so let's just jump into that now. Here we have a game of Lazy Bellboys set up for the only 2 players. So you're going to shuffle the cards and deal 7 to each player, and the leftover card is just going to set aside. Players cannot lift up their cards until it's fully dealt because you can't rearrange your cards in the game. Before playing, remove the 3 W's from the deck. Those are a variant that I'll explain at the end. The start player for the first trick in the round is just random. Let's say it's this Crest toothpaste player here. They're going to pick up their hand and they're going to make sure not to rearrange it. You cannot rearrange your cards in the game. That's because when you play a card into the trick, its rank is dependent on the position the card is in your hand. So if they were to play this card here, this says ×2, and it's in the first position. So that's going to be 1 × 2. This is a 2 right now. Over here, though, this is going to be half of its position. It's in the second spot right here, so that's going to be 1. If you were to play this card and then play this card, it's at the first position, so it's going to be 1 halved rounded down, so that's going to be a 0. So this could be a 1 or a 0, depending on when it's played. What's interesting, now we're getting way down here, so you got dealt 7 cards, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here, this x squared is a 16. Pretty wild. But if you play it now, it's a 16. But if this gets played, this gets played, and this gets played, and this is what your hand looks like later, this is actually just a 1, because it's 1 squared. So as you can see, ranks get changing depending on when you play them in your hand. It is must follow, so let's say this player decides to, let's say they just play this right now. So this is a 16. When you play your card, you're going to have to announce it because the other player doesn't know, where it came out of, and obviously you want to tell the truth. If you play with people who lie and cheat, that's not fun. Don't play with them. So it is must follow. So coming to this player here, they have to actually play their yellow. And so they're going to look at what position it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is going to be a 12. So they're going to say 12. This player said 16. This player said 12. The winner of the trick is whoever played the highest number no matter what. And if it's tied, it goes to the lead player. So this player played a 16 to a 12. They are going to collect both cards in the trick, and it's actually face up, so they're just going to put it in front of them, and then the winner of the trick is going to lead to the next trick. So now this player is going to go and say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're going to say 6. And so this player, since they don't have any more yellow, they have a 1, a 3, because that just never changes, another 3, a 4, this is a 5 squared, which is wild. That's a 25. And then this is a 12. So they're wondering, do they want to win this trick? And maybe they don't want to win. So they're going to say 1. So then this player over here wins. This player down here, maybe they say 1 because it was in the second position. 2 divided by that is 1. This player, they don't mind. Oof. Actually, they have to follow suit. They're going to win this no matter what because that's a 1. So that's going to be a 2. So maybe they just try to bite the bullet and play a really high card now. Or since maybe this is not flexibility, maybe they'll just play the 3. So that player clicks this. They say 1. This player can't follow suit. So they're going to say 1 because it was in the second spot. So ties go to the leader. And then I'm just having fun. I'm just going to play it out. So that is 3 times 2. That's a 6. This person is going to play this as a 1. Or maybe they'll play this as a 3. So then this player only has a 1 and a 4. They can play this as a 1. This player is going to play this as a 1 to make them take it. And then finally, the 1 squared is 1 times 2, sadly, so 2 to 1, and this player takes that. And the winner of the final trick is going to take the set aside card. So now that we've played a whole hand, you're going to check who took the most cards. It looks like it was 7 to 8. So this player would win because you want fewer cards. If, however, you somehow took all of one suit, so maybe it looked like this player over here is going to take all of that suit and pass it to the other player. So that's why sometimes, maybe like in this situation, this player was trying to capture all of the yellows because then afterward they'd be able to pass them all. So then in this case, where I guess that person took all the blue and this person took all the yellow, they would have swapped them. So it didn't quite matter. So it actually came down to the red and it was 3 to 2. So this player also still won. So that's the goal of the game, is either to capture the fewest or capture all of one suit, because then you'll pass it off to the next player. As a caveat, that only happens if you take all cards of either 1 or 2 suits. You get to place all of those suits in front of the opposing player. But if you take all the cards of 3 suits, then they actually stay in front of you. So if you take everything, that's bad. So this player would have 1 victory point. You're going to shuffle, redeal, do the same thing. And it's first to 2 victory points, that player wins. And that's pretty much how to play Lazy Bellboys. You can play a long game where it's first to 3 victory points wins. Or you can also include the 3 W's in the game. And how those work is you take out any 3 of an entire set. So you can take out like all the X's of the game or all the 3's of the game and then include this. And how the W's work is when it's played, you are going to do 7 minus the number of cards in your hand, and that's what it is. I wasn't 100% sure if it's before you played or after you played, so we played it where it was before you played. So in this situation right here, these 2 W's are 3's because you have 4 cards in your hand. 7 minus 4 is 3, but after you played one, like if we did that, that was a 3. Now it would mean this is a 4, and if you played that and that, this would be a 6. But it could be after you play, wasn't too sure on the translation. Taylor from the future, where I redealt a hand to make a clarifying point. I wasn't 100% sure, but we played assuming that it's always left to right for both players. Like this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. kind of hand placement for the X's and the math of the game. We weren't sure. I don't believe it's starting from the right, and I don't believe you can choose, but that's how we played, where this was always 1, the leftmost card. Hope that makes sense. Again, I'll put any comments or I'll pin anything in the comments of the video if it's ever different. So that is Lazy Bellboys and ClumsyRoomMaids. Let's talk about this one first. Because we have Melvin here helping us out. But this is an interesting game to review just because it feels so different at the different player counts. Yes, there are, core aspects to the game that are the same throughout and has similar mechanisms, but the feeling is so different. Like at 4-player, it's a team game. At 2-player, you have an open-handed kind of automata, Clara maid that you play off of if you have the leader. So they just feel so different. But talking to like main core gameplay aspects, that's a part of all of them that I like, is the bidding is fun. I love, it's kind of like 99, where you are bidding with cards that are part of your hand, but also you can reveal to get more points if you hit your bid or not. It's kind of like a really fun push your luck element to the bidding, which feels great. There's also this really fun building of the hand that I really enjoy. You can have a card and have it be a part of your hand, which lets you then inform your bidding, where you can kind of bid a little bit and kind of go towards something and then start shaping your hand. or you have that like final release valve of passing a card with a memo. And I think there's so much tension to all of it, right? Because if you start bidding first, then pretty much, like if you bid all the way, if you bid all three, which is pretty wild if you did that, then 5 of the next 6 cards are going to go in your hand. And so then you're just choosing, oh, if I have to hit, 2 tricks or 0 tricks or something, then you're like, ooh, I'm going to like try to just maybe take like low, and then if I ever get a high, I just pass it off to the player, and then, I try to play it off that way. But I think that if you just fill your hand, then you are at the whim of randomly just drawing what your bid could be. So if you fill your hand and you make it kind of strong, and then you just draw a bunch of zeros, you're like, oh man. So there's this kind of tightrope balance. And I think that is maybe my one caveat first, or my first caveat, is if you don't like that tacticality or like maybe that push your luck where you can get messed over by that last card that you draw, you might not like this game because there is that feeling of like, okay, what do I do with this? Well, I'll keep it in my hand so I can get some information. And then you keep getting cards in your hand. And then you draft this, you're like, ugh, maybe I should bid so that I don't just have random bids. And then you get to a point where you're like, you have one bid open, maybe you have a couple card slots open, maybe you have that memo. And then you do kind of at a certain point have to like just do something and then be at the free will? At the will of the card that you're going to draw at the end. Like whatever that is, right? So I don't mind it. Some folks, I think, took issue with like, the last card or two is sometimes just like, here you go. I kind of just made that so either if it was my bid, I had flexibility to either take, 2 more tricks or like 0 tricks if it was the last card in my bid, or if it was the last card in my hand, I just had flexibility to be like, oh, I can just slough it or use it to win and then slough a different card or whatever I want it to be. So I don't personally mind it. I think the game is, it's tactical, so it kind of lends off that. But that's like a caveat, I should say. The other thing that I think is so fun is like revealing to, and this isn't a team game, but at 2 and 3, like revealing to get more points is really, really fun. I love that like confidence, that bravado. You have that in like Haggis or like I said, like 99, like showing off a little bit more if you're very confident. That is always so fun in a game. I think I want to start talking about the player count now because I think they are just so different. So at 3 players, you are the memo you're passing to the player to your left, which is great. You have the classic like hidden and then revealed part of the bidding. And then you have like the fun tension of trying to get your bid, but then mess over other people's bids because you get the Nikosu dice scoring where you get more points if other people mess up their bids. I really like 3-player. I think it's a really good balance of like, maybe I'll worry about messing over this person. Maybe I'll worry about messing over this person. Especially if you get like really swingy points and one person is like really killing it, and then both you and the other person are like, okay, let's kind of mess over that person because they have like a huge lead right now. I'll talk about the scoring later. But at 2 players, you have this interesting kind of like zero-sum game that you're going back and forth on. And it feels really fun to like really only care about what the other person is taking. Like whatever you draft, you're like, okay, like this could be their card that I know, or like it's in my hand, or like, like the 6 tricks kind of have to split between you two. So you're kind of like balancing the bid on that as well, especially if they show face up. There's just a really good zero-sum nature to it all. I think my complaints at 2 have to do with the scoring. But the AI, I don't even just call it AI, like the open face Clara hand is really fun. It's really interesting to want to win a trick to then control the Clara player and like mess over the other player and like have Clara be another tool for you. It just feels so strong, So I think it works great. I think it's not too wacky, not too annoying. I guess I'll get into the scoring on that later. And then last but not least, team. Team is really fun. I think I like that dynamic of bidding for your team, passing a card to your teammate. It feels like a strong partnership vibe. I talk about this where like in a team game, I don't like it where you don't feel like you're really interacting with your partner that much. Like you don't have like passing or like there's no like some level of communicating or like kind of like the bidding as a team is really fun. And it's really cool how it is a little fiddly because it's hard to remember sometimes, but it's really cool how I could like the first card I draw bid with, my partner could, the first card they draw, put into their hand, and then I could bid, and then they could do a hand, and I could bid, and they can go a hand. And then they actually super selfish. That'd be super selfish of me, because then they wouldn't be drawing cards near the end, because then I, have to fill up my hand still. So there's a really cool, like, weirdly asymmetrical thing where one player can actually, like, take over the bid for the team. Really fascinating. I think it's interesting that it's face up. I get that idea there. I was talking to Jay from Carpet East, who's played, and I think there's some interesting things that maybe could happen with, like, still face up, face down. But I do think, like, overall, I think it does make sense why it's face up. I think it might just be a little too much unknown if it was face down. But Jay said something really great. And I think this should be true of all player counts. I think it should be the person or team that plays all 3 of your bets to be the leader card and not just the first one. Because there's so much flexibility in having 3 of them. Like, you could put a two down and then just 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, or 0, 0. So you have 2 tricks. Or you could put, like, a 0 down and then just get 2 2s. So you have 4 tricks. So, like, I don't know. I guess it is just leading the first trick, but that could be pretty powerful, especially at 2-player. So, I don't know. I do wish, Jay brought it up that I wish you had to fill out your full bet to be the one to do the first lead. I think that'd be a much nicer moment in the game. But getting back to the game, before we cover scoring, I love the 6 break time cards. I thought it was like a really small detail, but the more I think about it, it's so clever. I absolutely love it. So in a game with only 6 tricks and bidding in amounts of, 0, 1, or 2, you sometimes can bid the same amount. You can bid, 3 and 3. And it feels like, oh, okay, I guess we're just bidding the same. Or like 2 and 4, or like whatever, and it can work out. But so clever. You could win. So let's say you bid 3 and 3, right? You could win with a 6 and then win another trick. So you win 4 tricks. So the other team has 2. You have 4 tricks, but it only counts as 3. So clever. So I think it's a stroke of genius. Shibu, you're amazing. And there's parts of that. I mean, like, Shibu has that in, like, Bitcoin, right? Or if you win with, like, a 4 or a 6, it splits, kind of like Voodoo Prince. But, like, I love that flexibility in, like, a bidding game where it's like, yeah, sometimes a trick could be not a trick of your bid, or sometimes it could be 2, or some cool things like that. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the scoring. Scoring is super swingy, which I'm okay with, but, like, another caveat number 2, it's pretty wild. Sometimes the scores can look like 60 to 10 to 3. Like, it could just be, like, brutal. At 2-player, I don't love that Clara's bid is face down and then just revealed. And it can, like, randomly be hit or not. And I think what's weird about that is players don't know what that is. Players don't know what the Clara's bid is, and it's just kind of like a random reveal. And it does, like, affects the scoring. I wish 2-player was just the team scoring, where if you both hit, it's 15. If one of you hits, it's 30. That would make 1,000 bajillion% more sense. Because the Clara thing is random. So let's say I do really well, you miss your bid, I hit my bid, but then Clara hits her bid. And that's just random, right? So then you're like, oh, okay, I get less points. What? I get the tension that it is kind of funny that, like, Clara is a player at 2 that can win and beat you both. So it's kind of funny, but it just feels very random. Because, like I said in that example, let's say I do well, you do poorly in a round, but Clara randomly hit their bid. So then I split points with Clara, but then in the next round, I do poorly, you do well, but then Clara randomly misses their bid. You're going to get more points than me, just because random Clara. So don't like that. But even though the points are super big and swingy, I think they all make sense and they're all great. I love the fact that when you double up, you can get 10 points, but if you mess up the other players, or if the other team gets 5. I think it's super clever. There's just really fun things where you're playing and you're like, wow, like, it's a really fun design decision. Like, we had a moment where we played, and it was like 3 and 3, but we did all face up. So and then they did all face down. So even though, like, we wanted 3 and they wanted 3, and that could, like, technically work out with 6 tricks, we wanted 3 more than they wanted 3, because it would have actually been 30 more points for us. So really clever stuff. I think it's a wonderful time. Definitely those caveats, though. If you don't like drafting a card at a time, there's a lot of push for luck. You could just get randomly hosed by maybe some of that. And then some interesting design decisions at 2. And then also just the scoring can sometimes be pretty swingy. But I think it's great. And I think the graphic design on both of these are absolutely stellar. Okay. Wow, I talked a while about that one. I think it's a good time. She would do a great job. Lazy Bellboys. 2-player only. Hopefully I'll talk less about this one. But yes, Lazy Bellboys. I love, love, love the idea of a card. When it's played, you check where it's at in your hand, and then that is this variable that you either like square or times by 2 or divide by 2 or like whatever. And I think it's such a clever system and so fascinating. I do just wish maybe this is just an expectation thing, or maybe I just want another game that does this. Maybe that's it. But the scoring is very like, and I guess it makes sense because it's a 2-player, but it's very zero sum, and it's very like you don't want cards, but you don't want too many new cards because then they all come back to you. And like, I think it's just very like you can make like it's very much like back, forth, and then like one small mistake and it's like you lost 7 to 8 or something. Like it's very tight, it's very small. It feels like kind of like a micro game-ish. I would compare this like if this was like a meal, this was like a snack, but I think the cleverness in the card play, I want to be a part of a meal. I think that's so clever. It definitely works in this game, and I think it is fascinating. Like, you can get up to like, 36 or like whatever the square can get to. 49 or something. Is there 7 cards? Yeah, 49. But I do wish it just was almost in a bigger game. Sometimes it's like, oh, there's all these fun tools that, oh, what could this be? And then it's just like, oh, bing bonk, dunk dunk, and then it's like done. So I like it a lot. I think it's a wonderful time, but it feels as small as games we've covered in the past, like Bubblegum or Peas. But in those, it was like super simple, tiny, small numbers and like really small kind of twist in the gameplay. This twist in the gameplay is fascinating. I feel like this could like really, really grow. This almost just feels like a star performing, like an amazing musician performing on a really, really small venue. So I like it. It just, when I play it, I'm just like, oh, I wish this was a bigger game. I wish like, it's funny to say like this is the big game, but I almost wish like this gameplay was in a game like this size, or like kind of a meatier game. It's funny to call the game this size. This game has 6 tricks as well. They're both actually relatively pretty small. But anywho, I think scoring, interesting. It works. I like that it's even though it's must follow its highest number, because then it plays off of that idea of like, hey, that like x squared at the rightmost on your hand, like that's not good. That might really mess you up, even like offsuit. So super clever. So I think like the scoring does interesting things with the gameplay. So I don't think, again, it's off. It's just maybe I want it in another game. So maybe that's just it. So here's to Lazy Bellboys 2, the Lazening. So overall, I really dig these. I have a good time. I think I want Lazy Bellboys 2, but I'll take Lazy Bellboys 1 and ClumsyRoomMaids because I think they are a good time. Definitely check these out. I think this is a core aspect of what I love, and maybe why I even started the channel, is like really fun ideas that you can noodle in, and it's just a space I really like being in. Thanks so much for watching. This has been me and Melvin. I think he's kind of doing a little handshake here. All right, bye!